Hi, you just found a secret place on YouTube, which is my channel and my first video, although I am actually working on another video for 2 years already about Amstrad Plus 6128, but today what I want to talk about is Mega65, second batch of which was just shipped to the customers, and I am happy to be one of them. So let's see how it behaves.
Welcome to retrofan.pl, and let's go for a nostalgic trip down the memory lane to the computers, accessories and software, including games, of the 80s and 90s. We will learn how these things work and what's new for them, as there is actually always something new. To make it more interesting, this channel and its website are bilingual, both in English and Polish. Just switch the language when you want. And of course, consider subscribing and supporting my work.
What you can expect today is a complete noob unboxing experience of Mega65, because I didn't do much reading before. Okay, unboxing time. This is the Mega65 newly arrived box, and let's see what the content is. Okay, neatly packed for sure. Many layers and just some fillers. This is heavier. It's sized like a manual, but who knows. I should be able to just push it out. I don't want to destroy the box. It is indeed a manual. Congratulations for owning. And a beautiful spiral bound manual and user guide. It contains a lot of basic examples, as I can see. How to select a core. It's gonna be a very cool read. Continue. This one looks like a power supply. With exchangeable plugs. So I'm gonna use this one because I'm in Europe. The main attraction this too is something that I could just cut along this line, but it seems like I can also leave it intact. Oh, what a beauty. There are two control ports on the left side and a power switch that's pretty old school. A reset button so you don't overly use the power switch. Place for some extra expansion ports, probably reserved for the future. The main expansion port, disk drive, serial, VGA, HDMI, which is a nice modern addition. You can also actually connect it straight to Ethernet network. Nice mechanical keyboard. Caps lock actually has a different type of switch. Same with shift lock, but it doesn't stay in place. I would say that it does have a bit of a vibe of, you're gonna be surprised or not maybe, Schneider Euro PC. Check this one out. Mega65 is of course a lot smaller. Schneider also had this numeric keyboard. And all the ports were on the back. In daylight you can see that the case has some imperfections. You see how the light reflects around here maybe? And if we look correctly at the top, yeah, you see these lines, as well as on the back. Let me be gentle with it. These lines on nearly every potential port, but in general that's not something that you are going to pay any attention to. And it seems very solid. Nice silver-like keys here and blue-like switches for shift lock and caps lock. Okay, let's try to actually connect it. Let's get the power plug and wind the cable. Untie actually. I'm gonna use a separate power source under the desk. Power goes here on the left. And I'm gonna use VGA because that's more handy for me at this point. Because it is already connected. And of course I'm not reading the manual first. Mistake number 1, change the input source. I guess HDMI is an option. See how that goes. Welcome to the Mega65. Before you go any further, there are a couple things you need to do. Press F3 to F13 to set the time and date. Shift toggle to direction. F3 to F13. Okay, that's a way to do it. F3 changes the hour, 4 changes the minute, F5 changes the second, and with shift they will probably go down. Yep. So I assume this part changes the date. So it's 2022. 3 actually, 2023. We have January and it's January 22nd. You're probably watching this in like 2025 with my speed. And the time is 16:11. I'm glad they don't do like 12-hour time. Video, DVI, no sound, and DSC. Tab cycle to full modes so I can check different video modes. Enhance with sound sounds interesting. Let's do enhance in 60 Hz just because HDMI will handle 60 Hz. Space, apply and test mode. Yeah, try it, yes. It will revert if it doesn't work. Press K to keep the video mode, since it seems to work. Well, I can press K. I can actually check what's the difference between enhanced and DVI. Let's try this one. Yeah, test it. I don't really see any major difference. So I can go back to enhance with sound. Maybe the enhancement is actually the sound. I could read the manual, of course. I'm keeping it, yeah. Test audio. Set video mode first. A plays the tune. I'm not sure what my volume is. I actually don't get the sound. But that's fine, right? There is an audio out port, but I do not currently have an audio jack anywhere here. So I can live with it and return to save and exit. It's ready to boot in floppy, and this is absolutely amazing. Intro disk 1 tested in PAL mode. Press any key to begin. There is actually no disk physically in the drive, so the intro disk must be going from memory. Release disk 1 demo. I presume there's some amazing music going on there. Bit plain cube. It certainly sounds like it's loading something from a disk, but there is no disk I could actually eject, and I would see physically.
And that's a great moment to stop and see this beautiful explanation that I found later in the manual. The disk drive actually makes noises to add atmosphere.
Because I mean, we do have traffic lights in Africa, but we don't use them the same way. It's almost like we saw them here and just brought them over just to fit in, you know? People were just like, what are these? These are the brand new traffic lights. What are they for? Just adds atmosphere to the intersection, huh?
So it's not actually using the disk drive or any actual disk, it just moves the head of the drive to simulate using a disk drive for your better experience.
You may need a television or computer monitor with a VGA or digital video input that's capable of displaying the image at a given resolution and heart rate, a VGA or a digital cable. To get the most out of your Mega65, you might also want to get a 3.5 mini jack audio cable and suitable speakers or hi-fi system, so that you can enjoy the sound capabilities. So it does suggest that it actually doesn't go through HDMI.
A couple of hours have passed and I see this. The hour is 27th, 56 minutes.
Day 2, small update. I have actually connected the stereo out of Mega65 to a complicated contraption. The signal goes to an analog to digital converter, then from this to a converter that just inputs the digital coaxial and outputs digital fiber, just because that's what my speaker supports. So today we should be able to hear the sounds. The only thing I can hear right now is the interference picked from somewhere here. But I guess I can ignore it for now. Let's turn it on. And that's certainly different. After booting the machine, we can select from a set of demos that are basically very simple examples of the machine capabilities and effects. For example, the YCP logo is a demo using DMA to display a scrolling Mega65 logo. It's a nice horizontal wavy scroller effect, as you would recognize from many demos around the demo scene. Other than that, I can reboot. This is almost certainly not the effect that I was hoping for. Let's reset completely. It's funny that it had the correct graphics for a split second. You can see a demo of all the colors. Camelot is an animation with a lot of dots in 60 frames per second, so that's an interesting effect showing mostly the CPU performance. Let's see further. 8 is MAN65, it's a motherboard set painter. 9 is raster, a small raster intro with dual seed music. You can hear that the music capabilities of Mega65 are actually impressive, and it's actually simply 2 SID chips. And when we look at the games attached, it's gonna be visible that these are actually basically very simple games as well, mostly done by the community when Mega65 was still during development. For example, when you check out Tetris and the letter Q, it's written in Basic 65, so the version of Basic that Mega65 comes with. It gets the very classic Tetris music with the Russian tune, but when you start playing, it's mostly a silent. Oh, actually not completely silent, it has a little beep game, and you just, well, do your classical Tetris. As you can see, it doesn't seem to be so fast. For example, if I hold the key, it doesn't go as fast on the NES as on the NES. And it has this feature of arrow down actually pushing it all the way down rather than one point down, which is what I'm used to. So I'm probably going to suck at this so we don't have to watch me suffer. I can actually stop this game here and clear the screen and list it. So you see that it's actual basic. And another thing that I think is pretty cool is that I've read the manual this time. I pressed no scroll. Let's see what happens now. But when I list, okay, it doesn't work like this. I have to hold no scroll. What you see is that Mega65, when it displays basic 65 syntax, it actually does some syntax coloring, which is awesome because that's one of the things that make a developer life much easier, but old computers didn't have it. So you can see that the keywords are in different colors, the strings are in different colors quite often. Something stands out, so you know what, so your brain can actually make sense out of the data on the screen a bit faster. There's also a set of music. Cheek to Cheek, Dual Sit Compo and Manch. Let's see, Cheek to Cheek. It's a basic example with polyphonic music. It's cool that it actually plays in the background here. Let's see the first couple of lines. I don't know what I am missing. Yeah, it just uses the keyword play, so apparently play in this version of BASIC is able to play in the background. This is super cool. This is not something I had on the Amstrad, and I'm gonna dig deeper in the manual. There's also another dual SID compo there. Let's see that for a moment. You can also see that I actually didn't set the date today, so it did reset. Because it only remembers the date until I power it off, because I didn't plug in the battery. In the next episode, I'm actually going to open it and insert the battery, and we will see how it's built inside. It's interesting that you have to open the case to insert the battery, even though it does have a small trapdoor here. Underneath it, you can access the SD card that's built in. I've also checked that, or let's see utilities first. In the utilities, you can see, for example, the RAM test under number 4, and it's gonna show us that there's a lot of RAM in this machine. Basically, you have 5 banks here, 6 banks, I'm sorry, it's of course 0 indexed. It's 6 banks of RAM that should give you 128K from what I remember. Which is very weird because we are missing 2. And also there's so-called attic RAM. The attic is basically megabytes of additional RAM that's gonna be available only in the Mega65 mode. If you run it in the compatibility mode, it's not going to be accessible.
So that would be it for the first video, which was the complete noob unboxing of Mega65. So I really didn't remember much about the computer up front, and that's what you could expect if you just got a Mega65, didn't do much research yet, but wanted to unbox it, see whether it works, see what is actually on the pre-installed SD card, what are the basic demos, games, etc. In future episodes, I will install the real-time clock battery, as well as do some programming in Basic65, check how you can leverage the fact that the machine is actually up to 40 times faster than a C64, and what are the differences between the never released Commodore 65 and the Mega 65. Because I also think that's very interesting that the machine is actually modeled after an unreleased Commodore model from the past. Also stay tuned for my small refurbishing of an Amstrad 6128 Plus that is still in the making. Thank you everyone, greetings to my only subscriber today, and see you next time. Thanks.